I'm Ramona Africa, Minister of Communication for the MOVE organization. I'll be 54 next month, and I live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania right now. Okay, in terms of my life before MOVE, it was a middle-class black family life. I lived with my mother, never knew my father. I went to Catholic school from 1st to 12th grade. I was going to college. I went to Temple University. My mother always told me, you know, you can be what you want to be a doctor, be a lawyer. And I wasn't too interested in blood and guts, so I kind of gravitated toward legality. So when I went to college, I had a pre-law curriculum. I had gotten accepted into law school. I was aware of injustices, police brutality. I knew about the Panthers and things like that, but it wasn't real to me. It was just something I read in the newspaper. You know, it wasn't real to me. I never wanted for anything when I was growing up except real love and attention, you know, from my mother, from my family, and that doesn't exist out there. You know, I learned that, understood that after coming to MOVE. But in terms of material things or the way I lived, I never wanted for anything, you know. I traveled, I had money, I had, you know, nice clothes, plenty of them, you know, all the things that the system says that will make you happy. But I wasn't happy, and I wasn't really in tune with what was going on in terms of injustices and brutality and innocent people going to prison and how the courts worked. You know, I got my interpretation of it from TV and movies, etc. In my last semester at Temple University, that's when I encountered MOVE. I became somewhat of an activist because I was working in housing and would go to landlord-tenant court to monitor it, and started getting a little glimpse of what was happening with this system. And I got arrested in city council at a demonstration about housing. And when I had to go to court for the first time, I met somebody who knew MOVE, and he started calling me. And one day he called me and asked me, did I want to go to a meeting, you know, to plan a MOVE demonstration, you know, meet some MOVE supporters. And I said, yeah. I had known about MOVE for years, read about them in the paper, rode the bus past, you know, MOVE headquarters plenty of times, but never met or talked to MOVE people. So I said, yeah. And we went to that meeting that evening, and I met some MOVE supporters, my sister Ramona Africa, who was a supporter then. And it changed my life, because she started telling me things about MOVE that you don't read about in the papers, not accurately. You know, she gave me a lot of information, and knowing I was a pre-law student, she encouraged me to go over to City Hall, to, you know, court, and see for myself personally what was going on in the MOVE hearings. And I did. And what I saw was nothing like what I read in those textbooks or heard from those professors, you know, what the courts were supposed to be like, what was supposed to happen in those courtrooms. And I was shocked, and I was like, it's not supposed to be like this, you know? But it kept me coming back. And finally, I started going up to the prison to talk to MOVE people personally. That was it. MOVE people never encouraged me or told me one way or the other to go to law school or not to go. But after seeing what was going on in those courtrooms and seeing MOVE people in those courtrooms with the teaching of John Africa, just exposing this system, exposing the judge, the prosecuting attorney, even the sheriffs and cops, you know, cops would get on the stand and testify and be lying, and MOVE people would catch them in those lies and expose them. MOVE people weren't intimidated at all, you know, because John Africa had prepared MOVE people for that activity. And I was impressed. You know, I was really impressed. And I started seeing just how sick, you know, this system is, how they just lie and cheat and scheme to get what they want, to do what they want. And so I didn't go to law school. You know, I kept coming around MOVE, and one of the biggest things that happened was that a judge held me in contempt one day at a MOVE trial. And I had to end up going to court for that situation. And the judge was Lynn Abraham. She is now the district attorney. She is the judge who signed warrants that led to the August 8th, 78 police attack on MOVE. And she later signed warrants that led to the bombing in 85. But at that point, she was the judge that signed warrants that led to the 78 police attack on MOVE. And she found me guilty. And when I went for sentencing, she asked me, did I have anything to say before sentencing? And I said, yes, I do. And I started talking about how she knew, and everybody knew, that MOVE people were innocent. Just because I wouldn't sit there quietly and accept it in a country where they tell you you have freedom of speech and tell the world all this nonsense, you know, she wants to tell me I'm wrong, I'm criminal, you know. And I was talking, she told me to shut up. I said, well, didn't you just ask me, did I have anything to say? Isn't this America where you're supposed to have freedom of speech? She said, no. And she held me in contempt 60 days, I think it was, and sent me up to the county jail for 60 days. But what she didn't take into account was that she was sending me up to the county jail with MOVE women. I spent 2 months with them. So for real, she kicked me right on into MOVE, because after that, it was a done deal. You know, I knew what I was hearing, the teaching of John Africa, and the example that I was seeing in MOVE women was right. I knew it. And that was all she wrote. So, you know, she kicked me right on into MOVE. And that's really how I, you know, came into MOVE.